listening to the...
Wow.
I have to keep up.
Well, let's go over the Nakuda again, and then we'll go further in the Tomer Devorah. The Nakuda was that the Gemara says that the Gemara Brachas Lamed Hey says really two lashonos. It says the Kol Anena Min Olam Zeh Bracha Kilu Ma. And then the Gemara says Ika Damri Kol Anena Min Olam Zeh Bracha Kilu Nena Mikadshei Shemayim. So that's it's the same thing. Your mal and Kadshei Shemayim is two sides of one coin. If it's Kadshei Shemayim, your mal. So what's the Ikadamri? The Ikadamri has to accomplish something here. The pasuk that the Gemara brings is similar to what the pasuk, what the Gemara brings in Sukkah Daf Hey. That Lashem, Hashemayim Shemayim Lashem Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam. And there the Gemara learns. This is the key. There the Gemara learns that Shemayim Shemayim Lashem Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam Shala'olam La Yarad Ashchita L'Shchina L'Mata Me'asar Shnamar Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam. So our world is without Shechina Kilu. Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam. Elamala Me'asara is Hashemayim Shemayim Lashem. So the kasha was that, just the original kasha was that it's a bit of a steer in the two Gemaras, because if you learn that the Gemara means Hashemayim Shemayim Lashem Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam, in other words, since the Chet of Adam are Rishon, it's the way the Mefarshim explain the Gemara, that the Shechina doesn't come Lamata Me'asara. So if the Shechina doesn't come Lamata Me'asara, that's a chasar. It's because of the Chet of Adam Rishon. V'haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam is a chasar. Whereas the Gemara says that if you don't make a bracha, Lashem Haaretz Umloya. The Gemara, if you don't make a bracha, so you're mal. The only way to make a bracha is V'haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam. So it's mashma from the Gemara. Just my har is mashma from the Gemara that you make a bracha. That's a good thing to make a bracha, right? So if you make a bracha, so you're tuing uf. Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam. It's only Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam if you make a bracha. Kan kodem a bracha, kan acher a bracha. So acher a bracha, you've accomplished Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam. The Gemara in Sukkah says it's a chasar in Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam. There's no Shechina. Means that it's devoid of the Shechina. Lamata Me'asar. Let me get out the. I'm sorry. Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam means that you're a place devoid of the Shechina. You would think that when you make a bracha, so you're making the Shechina, you're bringing the Shechina into your life. That's what a bracha is. So if you bring the Shechina into your life, so Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam Achar bracha is a maila. So it's not a stira in the Gemaras, but it's a shtickle to mashmais in the Gemara. Whether Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam is a maila, is it a positive or is it a negative? That was the kasha. So one of the things that we said last week is that Rav Soloveitchik flips around the Gemara, learns the Gemara differently, that before you make a bracha, opposite way. We learned pshat that before you make a bracha, Lashem Haaretz Umloya. And mainly you're stealing from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're mahal, you're monenemy Kadshei Shemayim. If you do make a bracha, then you're zoicha to Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam. Rav Soloveitchik says that the other way around. Before you make a bracha, Lashem Haaretz Umloya. So therefore you're stealing. Before you make a bracha, Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam. But once you make a bracha, Lashem Haaretz Umloya, so now you've made everything Shemayim.
So why are you stealing?
So you're not stealing. No, so in other words, you learn the Gemara the other way around. When are you stealing? When it's Haaretz Nasan Livnei Adam. Why is that called stealing?
Because you didn't bring down the Kedusha.
Because you didn't bring down the Kedusha.
So
right. In other words, thank you so much. You're underusing the Gashmias that you have. So you have to learn not just that one line in the Gemara, you have to learn the whole Gemara differently. What the Gemara is addressing over here, the Pshat in Me'ilah, the Pshat in Goynev, in Kadshei Shemayim, is that you're like a cow. You're not using it for its kedusha. You're not doing with it what it was given to you for. What you have to do is go from Haaretz Nasan L'Bnei Adam, which is cow-like, to Haaretz Nasan L'Bnei Adam. Okay, you want to be artsy. To bring it to the whole world, Hashem Haaretz Umlayim. Hashem's on the Shemayim. Hashem is Ba'aretz. Hashem Haaretz Umlayim, that I have a koach to bring it up to Shemayim. And if I don't, so then I'm Moel. So it's interesting. You have to look at the Sugya to see whether it works. If he indeed said that, I'm sure it's right. That's not but the question is, I heard B'Shmai. So I read, let me just, before I go further, I just want to review Rav Kook and Rav Tzaddik that say the same thing in two different nuschos. Rav Kook in the Brachas Lamed Hey says it again and again. So it's hard to find the sentence to quote. But here he says as follows. Let me just be back to this with another horror that, again, it's by horror. I haven't seen it, but it's mashma that Rav Kook has the same horror in the Gemara. That it could be that the kasha was, what's the Yikadei Amri for? It's the same thing. Mo'al nana mikach shemayim. Same thing. What's the Yikadei Amri? So the answer is, this is a fact, that Mo'al is, to put it in yeshivish terms, Me'ila is a din in the Gavra, and Kach Shemayim is a din in the Chefza. I know that when let's say this is hektish. Let's say I was miyachid this for Hanukkah, it's hektish. And then I decide I want to scramble my eggs in it this morning. So, looks healthy. So, there's two possibilities here. Or there's not two possibilities, there's two things that are going on. One thing that's going on is, I was moil. Here I'm miyachid this for Kedusha. Just all here I'm miyachid this for Kedusha. And now I'm going ahead and I'm using it for chol. I've done an aveira. The other thing that's happening is this oil could have been Hanukkah candles. This oil could have been kodshim. It could have been the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash, and instead you're using it on your salad. So what's happening is that besides for my avera, what's happening is that the item itself never reached its level of kedusha that it could have. It's tragic. It's sinful. But it's a different type of a sin, if you will. One is like a din. Okay, I did an avera, not a steer to each other, but there's two things going on. Okay, I did an avera, I'll do tshuva. But even if I do tshuva, the oil will never come to be lit in the Beis Hamikdash because I used it for my salad. So an enemy kachei shemayim is a chasar in the kachei shemayim gufa. So there's really two inyanim over here. By the way, in this shaila b'chlal of what's the chasarin, there's so many nafkaminas bedin. For instance, just as an example, just while we're talking halacha, the klal is that difference whether I'm not supposed to do something or that thing is not supposed to be done because you're hurting it, and I can't be a gardener. Nafkamina lagabe groma. The groma is a ptur where you need a maisa of a ben adam, where the avera is in the maisa. So then, if it's groma, it's not my maisa anymore. Chazal, in their genius, turuf, that if something's a grama, it's not my maisa, unless it's garmi. It bounced off the wall, it came onto you, so the wall did it. In terms of maisa. In terms of, if the issue is that I'm making a chasarin in the etzim thing, what's the difference if I did al yidei grama, or it's not, as long as it's somehow b'siaches to me, it doesn't have to be my maisa. So when you're talking, if the issue of let's say real hektish, the issue is be'ila or kachei shemayim. So kachei, I'm saying as far as that me'ila would have to be my maisa me'ila. If I'm goyim somehow a me'ila, that's not a me'ila. If the issue is nanami kachei shemayim, is still the hektish didn't reach its tachlis. So if it didn't reach its tachlis, so even al yedei grama will be ushered. And you have to really think of every single isser in the Torah. It's obviously not for now, but you have to think of every isser in the Torah as to what is the kepeda, if you will, of the Torah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is that it shouldn't be done or that you shouldn't do it, or both. Nafkamina lagabe grama. Nafkamina lagabe grama. Grama benazikin pater.
Right?
Grama benazikin pater. Don't jump out of me because I'm not so fast. Grama benazikin pater means what? That the chesaron is in my Maisa.
Maisa has it.
So the Rashba in TorahLab, not TorahLab, in Tzidut Garmi of the Ramban. So he writes there that Grama benazikin pater is the pshat is that what is it's beautiful, like typical Ramban, classic Ramban. The Grama benazikin pater is the pshat. Who's going to have a hezek? Who's not going to have a hezek? Is Shabai. That's what he says. It is Lomdish treatise essay there of Tzidut Garmi. That's Shabai. That I'm being goyim the Maisa, that's my chesaron. So Grama benazikin pater b'chai b'dei shavayim, because self call self. I was goyim something I have to say. But it's a see he's b'chalak to Grama and Garmi in this. So now what happens over here in Bahai Alma is when you don't make a bracha, what is it? Are you being moel or are you being nana mikatche shamayim? If the issue, two ikadamris in the Gemara Lamanhe, if the issue is that you're being moel, so then we understand the pshat is I'm being moel. Forget about grama now. I'm being moel means I'm doing something wrong by taking something which was made for one purpose and using it for another purpose. If we're learning that the issue is kilu nana mikatche shamayim, if that's the Ikadamri in the Gemara, it means to say that it's not so much what you forget about yourself for a second. It's not so much about what you're doing or not doing. It's about that this food was created to come to a very high place, and it's not. So what is my avera here? Is my avera that I was Boel, or is the avera here that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created something for a certain purpose? And that's, as you say, more Hasidish in the sense that, but it's not Hasidish. It's Arid that you have to be Ma'al L'Tzaitzis in each thing. This thing will never have the milo that it was created for. Chaval. It's hard to understand with a tomato. It's easier to understand, let's say, with a person. You know, like if like there's two dinim. You know, like let's say. Somebody could learn Torah and they don't learn Torah, as an example. You have a kid, he could learn Torah and he doesn't learn Torah. So there's two chesronos over here. One is that he's not learning Torah, like he's made to learn Torah, he's not learning Torah. The other is like, look at the gadol that could have been. Look at the different type of a person, different type of a life that could have been. So it's not that there's two different ways to look at it, and probably they're both true. You have to some grandma's putter, if you let the school do it. If it's a din of a mice, it's okay. That's it. But kilu nana mikashin, there's a certain responsibility to make sure that, let's say, a child that's put under your protection and jurisdiction, that it should grow to what it's supposed to grow. And if not, so nana mikashin shamayim is taking it down. So Lashon Rav Kook. You have to take a look at this. Shechutz mimashu mishanes hatach l'shal nois v'mashu kiven b'hem yotzrim hametiv amiti yisbarach shemaisa Hashem b'tuvahem torim niskam v'ram yois harbi merach adam mitzad etiyois v'chum yois shein b'hem mitzad atzman roim mois ha'kedusha v'echi arav l'vavi l'hanis mehem. That besides for the avera, if I'm understanding him correctly, of abusing something, of shaming something, I'm taking kodesh and I'm using it for chol, I'm downgrading it. Besides for that avera, you have to look that you're lowering the whole status of that thing, and it's never going to come to its tachlis. So there's two issues here. Dugmas hatzir shel hana mikodesh shamayim shiroi shiaskel adam shu pachos v'malosei lumasa. Ein roi lahanes mehem k'moi shein roi lishtamesh hedyot b'sharbito shel melech. So a hedyot is not allowed to walk around with the sharbito shel melech. What's the inyan there? Two inyanim. One of them is how you know, what are you using the Rebbe's shtick for? Right?
His chair.
What are you using it for? The second thing is now there's nothing unique to the Rebbe any longer. In other words, this is the whole, you were mired, this stick could have been helping a tzaddik, and now it's not. So there's two inyanim. Amnam im ha-bracha, once you make a bracha, b'yis'ayris hatzad ha-ruchani sheba'adam lahaskil lahetiv, az huram v'nisa v'chol oilam kulei kedai hulei. Az huroi li'anis me'alam hazeh, im kol mailos ha-metzias ha-misdam l'kodesh shemayim. When you make a bracha, somehow, he doesn't explain how that is in this paragraph, when you make a bracha, somehow you're using something for its right tachlis. So what I explained last week, and this is where the Chazar is over, that the whole world, our whole life is created for, in Kabbalistic language, Malchus Hashem. In simple language, we're created for a purpose. We're created B'Tselem Elokim. And if we're created B'Tselem Elokim, it's to finish off the Bria where Hashem left it off. That's why we have to look like Him, because we're B'Tselem Elokim. And how we do that with mitzvahs, with chesed, with being a good person, by being Or Lamim, however we do that, that's our tachlis in this world. And when you make a bracha on something, so this is a, like Lahavdil of Havdalah is like, there's a person who could fight in an army, and another person could pledge allegiance to that army. You know, once you pledge allegiance, now everything that you do is like pledging of allegiance means that I can't think about it every time I take a sip of water, but b'chol, you're in the army now. Like everything that we're doing is for the big tachlis, the bigger picture. So the bracha, Chazal understood that the bracha is to proclaim my place in the Bria and the place of this food in the Bria, and I'm doing it all for its intended purpose of finishing off the creation of Hashem. And that's why I'm Mekayim, who I am of B'Tselem Elokim. Everybody with me, or am I? Mm-hmm. I'm Mekayim what I was created for. The water is Mekayim when I'm created for Al Yadi. I've created a Bechina of Malchus. Everything is Malchus. La Hashem ha'aretzim loya. La Hashem ha'aretzim loya means everything is Malchus. If I don't make a bracha, so that I'm just, even if I do something good, I'm going to get there of Eina Mitzvah V'Oisa. What's wrong with being Eina Mitzvah V'Oisa? Nothing's wrong with being Eina Mitzvah V'Oisa. What's not as good about Eina Mitzvah V'Oisa as opposed to Mitzvah V'Oisa? You would think of volunteers on a higher madrega. The shot is that Eina Mitzvah V'Oisa, you're missing the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, Havdalah, why am I using this mashal? Because of the news. So, like the big Indian Lahavdil of Havdalah is this terrorist in California. What they found on her Facebook page is that she pledged allegiance to ISIS. So somehow, like you think about it, that's even in the mind of the president of the United States of America or whatever he has. It's that's Mishana the whole Mitzvah. Niman of Shach, he killed whatever it was. 20 people, 14 people.
That's not terrorism.
What?
That's not terrorism.
So what makes it? What's the chiluk between? Like he killed them. He took an AK-47. He killed them. His name is Mohammed or whatever it is, and he killed them. But it's not an act of terrorism until you pledge allegiance to ISIS, which she did on her Facebook page. Modern day pledge of allegiance to ISIS. Oh, the hell of Afreya, we understand what the whole thing was. But it's not just we have a Havana, the thing. It means to say that you're doing it mitam. Like the Kavanas Hadvar was mitam. So Lahavdil Havdalah Salsad HaToiv is that a bracha is meroimem us and meroimem the item to its intended purpose. And if not, you're mamish moyel. And possibly, according to the Ikadabri, let it be kadshe shemayim. So meaning there's a chasarn in the gavra and there's a chasarn in the chefza. That's what the bracha has. That's the kavanah of the bracha.
So when a goy eats an apple, let's say there's 2 apples on the table. A goy eats one and I eat the other, making a bracha. Why should it be that my apple is better than his? I mean, obviously I've made the bracha, but like in the bria, the goy is not doing it.
The question is, what is kavanah? I mean, there's a different tachlis in the bria, right? Everybody's been created with Salav also, but the question is, what's like a cow? I'm making a comparison. I'm just saying, but a cow, like I don't know, is it mechuyev to have kavanah when I'm eating grass? I'm doing it. So it's a part of the world. He's like a plant. It's part of the world. Now the question is, the end user. What's the end user doing with this? And it's so fascinating that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world in a way that you need to come out to the plants and onto the animals and onto the whole world in order to Avodas Hashem. So that's not by accident. It's not like a b'diavad in the Bria. That's the L'chatchila. The L'chatchila is, that's our job. That's the part that Hashem didn't do, Kilu, and we're supposed to do is tell him, Elikim, be Makadosh, and Baal and the Tzaitzes and everything that there is. Let's go for our job. Like you can't ask a kasha, I'm so holy, why do I have to eat? That's exactly the point. By the way, this is what all the Hasidic Tishin are all about. It's not shtus. I mean, that's what they've tapped into, the idea of being malin. Whether they are, they aren't, Hashem knows. But I mean, that's the concept. The concept is that they're taking food, and they're being the Rebbe is being mala the kedusha of it. And the truth is, there is no other reason to eat that fish. I presume they already ate supper. So what's the point? It's all l'shem shema. It's like afikomen. Like there's no hana from the afikomen here. What's hana you're having in the afikomen? So it's achila totally l'shma.
So a question on this about the Hasidic that we said previously in previous hearing, that Hasidus believes that in the world itself, Hashem is in the blade of grass.
So it's even more so.
How does this fit in exactly? Because we're saying that when we take it, we put godliness in it. So the Hasidic holds that it's already there, that it's there.
No, we're not saying that at all. We're not saying that at all. We're saying Hasidic. We're saying that Lashem Aretz Ubloy means it's already there.
Right.
But the other question is, if you don't have the right kavanah, your ego is involved with it. So now I'm taking it for myself. Just on the contrary, it's not that you're making it. You're not changing the chefza. The chefza is the chefza. The machlokes of tzimtzum is, what does that mean? That the chefza is kodesh. What does kodesh mean altogether? Does it mean set aside, or does it mean that Hashem actually put something in it? But either way, the cheshbon is the same. That whatever the pshat and kedusha is, this has kedusha. And my bracha is being mala to its purpose. Not that I'm making the kedusha. I'm not making the kedusha. Person can make kedusha also. That's even more interesting. But let's say everything in the world is kadosh and made to be used l'shem shemayim. B'chol drachah de'ehu. It's by the way, this is a very not esoteric, very real avodah. Just to stop. It's a real avodah. I don't know that this has to be reserved for the Lamed Vavniks. I think even like for us, it makes sense to me. I'll be smart, not that I do it, but it makes sense to stop for 30 seconds before you eat something and just think for a minute of 30 seconds or a minute as to what's going on over here. And the difference in kavanah, even putting aside the bracha, the difference in kavanah is the difference between me'ilah and not me'ilah. I got to get by in life. I've got to I don't mean only I have to daven and I have to do mitzvah, so I have to eat. Stop. I want to live like a good life, like a good person, and that requires food also. I want to do Hashem's ratzon in this world. It requires food. It requires fuel. It requires a home. It requires even, just for some people, it requires even luxurious items. But it's all fine. I mean, you find this even by Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. It's all fine. When he picked up his fingers and he said, "Like enemy, I mean, he lived in a palace. We could see the palace. Like, what does it mean? It was all about Hashem. I'm a Nasi, and this is the way I have to live, and this is the way I have to. It was all about Hashem. It's not about asceticism and not having. And a bracha is the perfect takana of Chazal to make that pledge of allegiance. Why not? It takes a second, 30 seconds. That's it. Allah is doing a bracha. It makes the whole difference. And on the contrary, if you don't make a bracha, or if you make a bracha without kavanah, not a boil, not to be kosher shamayim. It's also bracha levatala. Like if you stop something, like it's stop you saying the Shem Hashem. It's also the habit of a couple of seconds. I'm not giving Musar chas v'shalom. I'm just saying that it seems to me that this is something which is very reachable.
So I understand the answer to the question. Because it sounds to me like it's more always by the Gava person, because you're saying that the Kedusha is in the Chefetz no matter what. So what the fact that we're elevating is only a chassid to the Gava.
But let's say you don't elevate it.
I'm saying, like, if you do, what are you doing? That's my question. The question I was asking.
So two things are happening. Number one is I'm using my life for the intended purpose, and
that's the Gava still.
That's the Gavra, and the tomato is coming to its intended purpose.
Yeah, but there's no change in it.
No, there is a change, because Hashem, it would be a change if you would use it for yourself.
Again, it's Gava. There's no change in the Chefetz.
No, this tomato will never be used in the Beis Hamikdash.
Right, but
Hashem created the tomato and you're using it for the wrong reason.
The level is not changing.
Let's say take my example of grama. Let's say the kedusha. That's cool for the point. That the kedusha is in this oil.
Right.
Let's say the kedusha is in the oil. So if the kedusha is in the oil, so now when I use the oil for myself, I'm myself in the gavra being oil. But besides that, there's not going to be any oil for the menorah tonight. So that's like another avera in the chefetza. In the chefetza.
Right, but there's no kedusha change.
No, if there'd be a kedusha change, there wouldn't be a problem. It's using something but kedusha for something that sorry, it's just been ringing the whole time talking. It's annoying. Just shut it off. You're doing it right. Let's go a little further in the Tomer Devorah with a few minutes. Well, Bein Zelazet, we're talking about. I think somebody pointed out that the lashon is a little bit different in your book than in mine, but we'll deal with it. Ubein zelozeh kosher Shechina imay besudasai. Between Shachris and Mincha, you should eat breakfast. That's what it means. And this wonderful lashon that's in mine, anyways, of kosher Shechina. Doesn't say that in your. No, kosher. So this is. You're tying the Shechina up into your Seudah. Meaning, I told you I Googled this. Like, where does this lashon come from? Kosher HaShechina. So the answer is it comes from here. This is the Makar. Kosher HaShechina. You're harnessing the Shechina. You're tying down the Shechina to this world. Like, just think about that. Kosher Ashkina imoy b'sudasei. So it's not that I davened and I learned and now I'm finished with my avodas Hashem. Now you have to eat. So that's also part of the avodas Hashem, like we said. So Bein Zelazeh kosher Ashkina imoy b'sudasei shegoymel chesed im ha'aniya hazois. Lashon. That when I eat my Seudah, I'm being goymel chesed with my poor body. Kamai Shahayaimer Hillel Azaken. Like Hillel used to say. Yodea Tzadik Nefesh Behemtoi. Let's take a look for a second. I have it here. Hillel's. Open up to the page and I'm looking for the messages, which was good because out of hearts and I didn't know exactly where it was. The Medrash says like a story like this: Goimel nafshay ish chesed zeh Hillel hazake. It's fantastic because this is in Vayikra Rabbah on the pasuk of V'chiyamuch achicha imach. So somebody comes and stretches out his hand and says, "Help me." So the Medrash says that Zeh Hillel Azake shebishasha yenifter me talmidav hayimahalech v'hoylech imam. So Hillel gave a shir, and Gadol Hadar gives a shir. It's full of talmidim, and then he finished the shir, and all the talmidim are leaving, and he walked out with them. So that's not supposed to be. We're going home to eat breakfast. Rabbi, where are you going? Why are you leaving the base medrash? You're supposed to stay here. Amr lo talmid of Rabbi lehechan ato haylech. Where are you going? Amr lahem lasos mitzvah. I'm going to do a mitzvah. Amr lo, so the talmidim said, v'chi ma mitzvah? Which mitzvah are you going to do? Amr lahem lirchos beis haberach. I'm going to take a shower. Amr lo, v'chizu mitzvah hi? What kind of mitzvah is that? Amr lahem. He said, Amr lahem. He said, yes. Ma imi koinan shamalachim shema midnoisei bebate tartiyos bebate kriyos. You have statues of the king in the middle of the mall, middle of the kikar. So be shemenismana alayim. The guy who's in charge of them, who markan v'shoitvan, is washing them and shining them and polishing them. Anishi nivresi b'tzelem u'b'tmos, I'm created in the tzelem alakim, t'chsiv, because it says in the Torah, ki b'tzelem alakim asa adam. Allah has kama v'kama, how much more so do I have to take care of my goof and make sure it's shined and make sure it's polished? So said Hillel. Hillel's like his... He had a few, he's mentioned over and over again in Pirkei Avos, so he had a few major statements, which were things that he used to always, major teachings that he would always say, and they all seem to me to be in one signon. But one of the things he says is, Chaviv Adam Shnivra B'Tzelem Elikim. The other one he says is, you should having me Talmidav Shel Arei. Oyev Shalom, Roidev Shalom, Oyev Zabriyos and Makarav and Latayra. What's the kasher? Why do I say there's a kasher between them? It's all very down to earth. It's not esoteric. The reason is because in Hillel and Shammai, the difference was, which is a borrower, the difference was that Shammai was all about the Messiah. It was all about top down, like it's coming top down. That was the Shammai halacha. Everyone of his halachas are yusad in the fact that kach kibalti, it was a Messiah. Hillel, the chiddush of Hillel, was when the Messiah stopped. Shimshu Shmaya Vavtalia. The Gemara says when the Messiah was unclear, they didn't even know what to do with the Korban Pesach. They didn't know what to do. So Hillel was learning it. It was a lamdan muflag, and he was learning it from his own logic and his own lamdas combined with the Messiah. So he added this piece of Isarusa de Lasata. He added this piece of we can accomplish something, because he understood that's what a Tzelem Elikim is, and he understood what the godless of a human being is. Ahoivas Abriyos and Makarav and Latayra. It's about bringing things that are lower up as opposed to just being the kli, which is catching it from top down. This is a major difference between Hillel and Shammai. So Hillel, L'shitasei, is walking out of the base medrash and he says, I need to polish the body, because the body, that's a hell of a lakim. This is. But then he says further, different time, Nifter mi talmidav. Different time he left the base medrash and he walked out with the Talmidim. Amr like Talmidav Rabbi lehechan ato haylech. Amr lahem ligmal chesadim hadei nachsanya b'goy beisei. I have to do a good thing with my achsanya. Like I got to go pay my rent. I got to do some kind of a chesed with my achsanya. I'm staying in somebody's house. I have to do chesed. Amr like kol yoybislach achsanya. It's not just today. You do this every day. What's your thing with the achsanya? Amr lahem, v'hadei nav shaluv talav achsanya hu begav gufa. Isn't my neshama an achsanya in my goof? Isn't my goof an achsanya to my neshama, in other words? Yom adain hi hacha, lamachar leis hi hacha. The neshama is temporary in this world. Today it's here, tomorrow it's somewhere else. Meantime, this is my hotel. It's free. So take care of it. So this is Hillel's understanding of the kesher between the guf and the neshama. That the guf is the achsanya of the neshama. It's a whole new idea of ushmartem misnafshu seichem moed. So the achsanya, what the achsanya takes care of, in other words, is the achila and the shtia and the lina v'levia. You don't abuse your guest room. It's worse than me'ila, and it's worse than nanami kachu shemayim. You don't abuse the room that somebody's giving you to stay in. So he understood, Hillel, he understood that it's all about, my neshama is right now residing in my guf, so be nice to the guf. Take it seriously. So it's amazing kavana of achila. Like goy mol chesed, he's goy mol chesed with his guf.
But in that sense, like, if the neshama is the one having that machshava to be kosher to Shechina, doing it to the guf, but it's really it's a self-interest. The neshama needs the guf to look after. So why is it called chesed?
Why is it called chesed?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know, maybe because a lot of people don't do it. In other words, you're saying that it's this chesed is min adin, like, and a chanami. I'm just trying to understand. I'm just thinking out loud that the koteret here is v'chiyamoch achicha imach. So a person comes and needs help. I don't believe, halachically, this is necessarily referring to like a guy knocks on the door and says, "Give me a shekel." It's a whole different story. We're talking about like achicha. Somebody comes to you. I mean, that's also different hilchos tzedakah, but I don't think that's what the chumash is talking about. What the chumash is talking about, somebody comes to you, a friend, somebody sits next to the shoulder. I need some help. So it's chesed. Now, on the one hand, it's chesed. Help the person out. That's what the chumash is saying. Masucha li'salim. Not the lesson. Masucha li'salim. But on the other hand, like the bria of the world is such that I have what I have, and just like you have to take care of your own goof, you have to take care of somebody else's goof also. Maybe even more so. So, after I have an achrayus, v'chiyamu chachicha, I have an achrayus for, I can't take out the whole world, but l'chol hapachos, if somebody stretches out his hand to me, or somebody reaches out to me, in our more modern language, somebody reaches out to me, so there's a certain, let's say your kid asks you for some help, and your kid is 40. So, I don't know if you have a chiyuv of support. I don't know. I do know there is no chiyuv. Once he's 9, 10 years old, 12 years old, whatever, there's no machloek is 9, 11, 12, no chiyuv. But so it's a chesed in the sense that it's you're doing a chesed. You probably take it off your meiser money. You're doing a chesed by taking care of your own kid. But mitzad sheni, is it a bit adin? I mean, it's like does somebody have the right to say no? Well, who's supposed to take care of somebody else? When does your fee of chinuch of your children end? Never. It changes. It changes, but it doesn't end.
Until they have to take care of you.
Right. When I was in the States a few weeks ago, I had to go to the doctor, so my daughter took me to the doctor. So, thank God I'm okay. I mean, I'm able to get to the doctor myself, but she took me to the doctor. She sat there, the doctor's talking, she's taking notes. So I said, this is the first time there's this role reversal here. I remember taking her to the doctor. I don't remember taking, this is I'm taking the doctor. I'm listening to the doctor telling her what to do. So I said, is a role reversal. So my daughter said this a new level of chinuch. There's a new level of chinuch here, of letting somebody take care of you. It's also chinuch. What I'm saying is that the kesher between, just to answer your question, the kesher between din and chesed is very, very dak. It's a kesher dak. So Tomer Devorah brings this medrash of Hillel, which is so much about understanding that it's so non-ascetic. It's so non-ascetic because what he's saying, I must bathe myself, I must polish myself. He talks in a different place how he has to dress with begadim nayim. He has to eat properly. But it's all the kavanas hadvarim is that it's a chesed. He didn't even see it like he's doing it for himself. What is yourself? I don't know. But it wasn't his existential self. He was doing a chesed. So this is another thing that the bracha accomplishes. Like I'm not doing this for me, I'm doing it for the whole bria, which HaKadosh Baruch Hu put under my responsibility. Let's just look at the words over here. Ben zelazeh kosher hashchina imo besudasei. The Seudah is a wonderful time to be kosher. The Seudah shegomel chesedim ha'aniya hazois k'mo shahaya omer Hillel hazaken yodei tzadik nefesh behemtai. This is my, like the behemoth that I'm riding on. See, the Gemara criticizes Bilam for beating his behemoth. Ani asayimcha shirachavta alai. Like this is the gashmis that you were given to do. I'm here to do good things. What are you abusing me for? Don't be meroimim over me. Pick me up. Have a karzatoy. So here he ends, Vizuti kavanasei besudasei. And this should be the kavanas hasuda. Ligmal chesed lenefesh behema lekosher b'soid hamazon. To make it, your mazon, part of the Shechina, part of your life, and part of the Shechina, and part of the Tzelem Elokim. And that's the Seudas mitzvah, that every single Seudah can be, and every drop of food can be, is to elevate it to a point of Kedusha, in the sense where you're using it for exactly what it was intended to be used for, and so I'm not over me'ilah, and I'm bringing the food up to its highest madregas, so I'm not nenem mi kodshei shemayim. Kodshei shemayim remain kodshei shemayim. That's the cover. Freilich and Chanukah.